Joining me now is Director of the Middle East Peace and Security Project for the Center for Security Policy, Alex Vanness. Alex, hi, how are you?
I'm well. Thanks for having me on, Liz.
Thanks for being here, Alex. All right, let's start with this. Let's just answer Prime Minister Netanyahu's question here. Eradicating the Jewish settlements in Judea and Samaria as a precondition for any peace settlement between Israel and the Palestinians. Is that ethnic cleansing?
It's the dictionary definition of an ethnic cleansing, at least according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary.
Right, because it seems to me that, exactly, like you said, it's the dictionary definition. It couldn't be more simple, more straightforward here. To get rid of somebody, to get rid of a certain race, that is ethnic cleansing. And to have any peace, I mean, the point Prime Minister Netanyahu made, I think, is right on the money here. You can't have peace if you don't have tolerance for other people. That's not true peace. It's a false peace.
Absolutely. And Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has made it clear, he has openly stated that he has that a final solution for a Palestinian state will have no Israeli civilian or soldier in its territory. And there are over 600,000 Israeli civilians living in Judea and Samaria currently. And the forceful removal of those people would be an ethnic cleansing.
Right, and it also brings up the question, I think, of what would happen to these people if, hypothetically, God forbid, this precondition to peace were put into place, that there were no Jews allowed in this area. What would happen to Jewish people if they were found in this area, if they didn't leave? How would they be punished?
Well, we saw this in early 2000s with Gaza during the removal of settlers in Gush Katif, where the Israeli government went into these settlements and in certain instances dragged the Israeli civilians kicking and screaming from their homes. And what happened afterward was Gaza became a hotbed for terrorism. Hamas took control and fires rockets into Israel proper regularly.
Right, and what galls me here about this, besides the fact, I mean, this is what we expect, to be honest. This is what we expect from the Palestinian Authority at this point. This is what they've demonstrated. Their entire philosophy, their entire mindset is built on anti-Jewish philosophy here, feelings here. But it strikes me to be, this would be the same situation as if ISIS were saying they'd be willing to make peace with the world if all Americans were killed. The world would be outraged if that were the case. Yet when it comes to Israel, the world just keeps quiet.
As a general rule, the world, especially at the United Nations, holds a double standard when it comes to international law and the rule of law towards Israel as opposed to other countries. And especially regarding control over occupied territory, we can see Israel is held to a double standard, especially as compared to Russia over Georgia and Crimea, or Vietnam and Cambodia, or China and Tibet.
Right, a complete double standard here. Alex, let me ask you about this. Palestinian Authority leader Mahmoud Abbas, he said it was actually Israel that's the one carrying out ethnic cleansing. I couldn't even figure out what he was talking about here. How? How does Israel allegedly do that?
Well, he claims, I mean, he's also claimed that rabbis are calling for people to poison the water of Palestinians. So I take everything he says with a grain of salt.
Right.
There has been a history of they cite home destruction by Israelis as a sign of an attempt to ethnically cleanse the area. Unfortunately, what they don't really mention is the fact that these homes were created in violation of the Oslo Accords and all other agreements, and have been created by none other than the European Union in violation of the Oslo Accords in accordance to Israeli sovereignty.
Right. If it didn't come to people's lives, if this wasn't a matter of people's lives, it would almost be comical, the irony here that Abbas is saying that it's the Israelis that are calling for the poisoning of Palestinians' water here, when it's actually just the opposite. It's the Palestinian Authority that funds television shows, even children's television shows, that teach little Palestinian children how to use kitchen knives to kill Israelis, that laugh at the death of Israelis. Like I said, if it weren't people's lives at stake, if people weren't dying at the hands of these monsters, it would be almost comical. But Alex, U.S. State Department spokeswoman Elizabeth Trudeau, like I mentioned in the introduction, she responded to Benjamin Netanyahu's video, and she said that his comments were inappropriate and unhelpful. I didn't quite understand where she was coming from. It seems like something that needed to be said.
As far as I'm concerned, it did need to be said because it's the truth. And unfortunately, a lot of individuals in westernized countries, including America and various countries in Europe, have been led to believe that settlements and settlement building is an impediment to peace, and the idea that there is an idea, an accepted idea by the Israelis that a certain level of settlements will be removed regarding, like, based off of a final status negotiation. However, President Abbas has openly said not a single Israeli will ever live in a Palestinian state.
Right, not a reasonable compromise there. And I guess the contradiction here the contradiction within Elizabeth Trudeau's comments here is the fact that yesterday, Wednesday, the U.S. agreed to send Israel a military aid package over the next 10 years, $38 billion, a lot of money, one of the largest, actually, military aid packages that the United States has granted to another nation. This belays what she said, though, because it shows that we are supporting Israel. So what is she saying? Is it just a political statement?
I believe it is just a political statement, but we will see in October, on the 14th, there will be a UN Security Council vote regarding status of Israeli settlements, and we're going to end up having to see what President Obama directs Ambassador Power to do regarding that vote. So.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Alex, thank you so much for being here. We are out of time, but it's always great to talk to you. All right, guys, we'd like to know your thoughts, too, on this matter. So tweet me at Liz_Wheeler, and we'll be back in 1 minute.